I'm excited to announce our next speaker. I've never heard him speak, but I've had multiple people that I deal with on a daily basis hear him speak, and I have heard nothing but raving reviews. So I'm actually very excited. I'm excited for you guys to be able to hear him speak today. But I would like to bring up Ernie Harker.
Thank you, Tony. So my name's Ernie Harker. I've been in the convenience store business for since 2001. The company Maverick, Maverick convenience store chain, they hired me to develop a new brand for them. And so we'll go into that in a little bit of detail. But I am super, super passionate about brand development. Now, I'm not an operations guy. I'm assuming that you guys' operations are money. Things are well-oiled, things are going smoothly. But if they're not, a really strong, powerful brand can inspire performance from every level of your employees. So let me talk about, like, there's two things I would love to have you guys walk away from after this presentation. One, is my brand as sharp and as potent as it could be? And second, I need to start using generative AI to help save me time and money. Because there's not very many of you here, maybe Ed, who has tons of money and tons of time. Most of us are not like Ed, and we need as much of that as we can. So those are my two objectives. Let's go through it. So my branding experience came to me, my background came when I was a little kid. I have 8 brothers. My mom was a magician at taking, I know you're laughing going, that lucky woman, how did she get so lucky? No sisters. But she would, we didn't have a lot of money. Like, seriously, we ate everything. But my mom was a magician at taking every nickel and stretching into $1. And she would do that by, we would shop, I'd go with her many times to freight salvage, where we'd buy broken boxes of cereal, dented cans of soup, things like that, save as much money as we could. She also gave us haircuts. Now that I say that, you can look at that and go, I get it, same haircuts. Who else had their mom give them haircuts, by the way? Right on, see, you guys are my people. Awesome. So yeah, at $8 a pop, that's a lot of money every couple weeks. So mom was awesome with that. Another thing that she did is she was a fantastic seamstress, and she sewed clothes all the time. Well, when you're a little kid, that's not a big deal. But when you get into junior high and stuff and you're wearing mom's clothes, you're feeling me, right? So one of the things, I was in middle school, and powder jackets were a big deal. Powder jackets were these little lightweight coats, had no stretch in them at all, but they had a big kangaroo pouch in the top with Velcro. You can put your bubble gum in there, or weed. But I'm just saying bubble gum, okay? But they were super cool. They were super popular, and you knew a good jacket by the brand that it had. The logo meant something. The zipper, the little details that would say, this is a really nice jacket. And at the time, I think it was like a Patagonia type brand. And that Patagonia brand had like this adventure theme to it, this like really cool theme to it. And so I wanted to be a part of that story. My mom, when she made our jackets, she would sew in a little tag in the back of our jackets that said, handmade by Wanda, my mom. But I'm embarrassed to say that I was embarrassed to wear the jacket. The functionality was identical to the name brand ones. My mom was good. But there was something about the story of wearing the jacket that was different, and my peers could tell the difference. It wasn't like Patagonia. It was like mom. And so I thought, well, why was I embarrassed to wear mom's jacket? It covered me up. I could put my bubble gum in the front pocket. But why was I embarrassed? It was because I was telling other people I was a part of a different story. And that story was created by the marketing and advertising and packaging of the brand. My mom's brand was that, right? 9 boys. This is before my younger brothers came into the picture, okay? So this is a small family photo. That's when I realized that branding makes a big difference in how we feel and then how we buy. So a brand, I want you to think about this, a brand is developed or created by the marketing materials, the visual, anything audible that your customers hear or see about you. It could be your social media posts, your websites, your TV ads, your billboards, everything, your uniforms, but your employees wear. Your, what does that sound like when I go into this store? All of those things are little snapshots, of little branding building blocks that your customers see. What story are they telling and how do they make people feel? So I want you to think about thematic branding. Thematic branding in like, there's some type of image or story that inspires ideas. Like the Dos Equis theme is centered around a dude called who knows it? Who is this guy? The most interesting man in the world. Every guy wants to be James Bond, Matthew McConaughey, or the most interesting man in the world. Because there's a story about those guys, right? In the ads, I'm like looking at this guy going, I want to do that. And the way to do that, drink Dos Equis. Well, when you drink beer, right? So that's his story, but it creates this image, a story that I want to be a part of. What's crazy about this guy here, Kellogg's, they sell sugar-coated cornflakes. How do we sell these to kids? Okay, kids, here is a corn cereal that's been mashed, fried or baked, and we load it with sugar, and it has these kind of ingredients in it. No, they create a mascot character that's a tiger that says they're great, right? Here's something interesting about it. I go, Tony the Tiger, there's the slogan or a song that goes, show them you're the tiger. Show them what you can do. The secret in Tony's Frosted Flakes brings out the tiger in you. So now we know that Kellogg's Frosted Flakes is actually an energy drink. It brings out the tiger. It makes you more competitive, right? The cereal does that? Well, when there's the story developed by a character, it helps us identify and recognize the different brands. Oh, I recognize Frosted Flakes versus the generic brand. I don't even know what the other, like sugar-coated corn cereal, I don't know what the other brands are because this character has dominated the cornflake market. Who's heard of liquid death? Raise your hand if you've heard of liquid death. Who's not heard of liquid death? Raise your hand if you've never heard of liquid death. Okay, good. Really, you haven't? You seem to be a woman of the world. So here's, I'm gonna blow your minds for just a second. There's 2 of you here that has never heard of liquid death. So liquid death is canned water. Does it look like water? When you look at that, does it look like a can of water? No, because it's using imagery in a theme that we're familiar with. Where have you seen that font? What type of things have you seen that kind of packaging? Energy drinks, right? Energy drinks. So energy drinks have kind of a story, a theme to it. Now water is going to be placed in that story so that kids, and I love this so much. So my first time I heard about it, it's like 3 years ago, my daughter brings home this liquid death. And I'm like, sweetheart, we got other kids in the house. You'll be drinking that in here. She says, it's just water. And I'm like going, there's no way that's just water because it doesn't look anything like water, right? What I love about this, it's like gives younger people an opportunity to rebel by drinking the healthiest thing on the planet. Like, yeah, I'm drinking water, suck it, whoa, right? And I remember I was interviewing the VP of creative marketing for Liquid Death's online brand presence. And I said, could you tell me some stories about the brand? He said, it is the most polarizing brand I've ever worked on. Either you hate it or you love it. In fact, so I'm so excited about this. Yesterday, I was giving a presentation where I talked about liquid death. There was a woman there, folding her arms like, that's evil. I can feel the evil coming off of it. That makes people evil. She's thinking the drink makes people evil. Like you're drinking, it's like, yeah, right? No, I said, what it does is it gives you, or whoever's drinking it, an opportunity to express something rebellious about themselves in a very healthy way. So either you hate it or you love it. But either way, it polarizes you. I want you to think about your brands. Are you a commodity like a jacket that just functions and serves the public? Or is there something about your brand that people love? And in tribes, you guys have lore and stories and history. Is there something about that story, and not just graphic design, by the way, that will draw people's attention and inspire them and love them, like fall in love with you, be inspired by you, be excited, revered, respected? Like there's got to be some of that story in your tribes that need to come to the surface so that people go, the place I buy smokes is there because I love them, not because they got the best deal. Because when we're fighting the best deal war, nobody wins. Oh, I can do a better deal than that. I can do a better deal than that. Guess what? Now nobody's making money. This is great. Yeah, let's do that. Let's play that game all day. But when you create a brand that people love, they will suffer inconvenience. They'll pay more money for it, and they'll tell their friends about it. So marketing gets easier. So let's dive into this liquid death a little bit. So liquid death has a personality that's the antithesis of water. They basically said, we're going to market water like it's a poison. Like the healthiest thing in the world is now like the terrible thing that you can drink. That's what we'll do. We'll create that image or story, and we'll use the theme of death metal, rock and roll death metal. That's very similar to energy drinks and beer, like craft beers. They've taken their hate mail and created real albums that you can buy. This is volume 3 of Liquid Death's Greatest Hates. Lyrics and songs based on hate mail. Seriously? Who is the most homey person in the world? Yeah, they've taken basically this very homey Martha Stewart and have created a co-product called Severed or Dismembered Moments. It's a real candle you can buy of a severed hand. Okay, what are they? Here's what I love about branding. Branding rises above the product, the functionality. It creates a lifestyle. It creates a story that you want to be a part of. People who drink this water go, I love the water so much, I'll buy the merchandise. I'm going to buy the album. And I'm going to buy the severed hand candle. Just for Halloween. I mean, who's crazy, right? So what does branding do? I've talked to engineers. I've talked to CFOs, smart people who pride themselves in their intellect. And they always say, I don't believe in branding. Branding is just a bunch of fluff. I want to be operations, tactics, get things done. Like, very noble. But here's what happens when the same product is sold in a different way. 2019, a $3 million company. 4 years later, they're now valued at 1.4 billion. You guys, it's just water. It's water in a can. Convenience stores, you sell exactly the same thing your competitors do. Very, very little difference. You might have your own signature item, but 95+%, maybe 98+% are the exact same products that your competitors buy or the competitors sell. How do you differentiate? Water is sold water, but the difference has nothing to do with what's inside the can, but has everything to do with outside it. That story, that feeling. Now, why is this important? Why am I even talking about this? Well, first of all, I hate brands that suck. Brands that are like uninspiring, unmotivating. They're just a functionality. Me personally, I want to be a part of something. And it doesn't take much more effort and time to create a brand that works. But also you owe it to your tribe, your shareholders, your customers, your employees, to be as successful as you possibly can be so that you have the resources to make a difference. If you're just doing business because that's what I've been doing, that's uninspiring. Do your employees wake up in the morning and go, man, I can't wait to do what we've always done? That gets me going. What they want to know is like, what story am I a part of that I can share with my customers so they can see that we're different? We're unique in a fun way. So there's money. Brands breed success. I look at these and I would say, people would tell me, those are branded trucks. And I say, no, they're not. They're logoed. By the way, I have no idea what those logos mean. There is no story for me or most consumers when they look at these different brands. They see these trucks and they go, oh, Shell. What's the story of Shell? How do I fit in that story? Hadlock. I mean, I have no idea who their founder is, what their stories, their background. I'm not a part of that story. They branded it to be so I can identify where it is, but I don't care that it's different. Compare that to these. Okay, there is a story, a visual expression of something, and both of those are very different. By the way, guess how much it costs to do this versus the previous ones? It's about the same. Oh, but what it does, it takes a little bit of thought and a little bit of effort. By the way, that's why we call work, work, because it does take effort. You want to mail it in and just do, we'll throw the logo on there. That's easy. But no one's going to go, man, I'm going to follow that Hadlock truck to wherever it's going. But if you're a Sheetz fan, if you're a Sheetz freak, you're someone who identifies as a Sheetz fanatic, you go, I love the image and the personality of their marketing. It makes me laugh. I want to watch more of it. I want to share it. Nobody does that with Hadlock or Shell. So make sure that in your brands, there's something that people can share, that you've identified it. And it's easy to package and go, this is what we're about. Interior design. We just saw a beautiful store. The architecture, by the way, love the weed logo made out of fishes. Freaking awesome. So cool. But I look at this interior and I go, nice. So what? Functionality, nailed it. It's like the jacket my mom sewed. It functions. But does it get people to go, I love walking in here? Versus like Maverick. Paint the ceilings blue because it's no longer a ceiling. It's a sky. And all around the walls, it's a mural. You have to paint the ceiling a color anyway. You have to do some kind of wallpaper or wall paint or something. You have to do something. You may as well make it an experience. So people feel different when they walk into a Maverick store. They feel like they're on an adventure. What does that do to somebody? How does it make people feel? Well, and why did we do that? Let me give you a little snapshot of a little bit of the Maverick history. 2001, a guy named Brad Call and Mike Call were running the show. They were third generation owners of Maverick. It was a family-owned business. Brad, I was introduced to Brad because he wanted to create some TV commercials that had nothing to do with their current brand, which was like an Old West cowboy themed brand. Because I hate that brand. Let's come up with new TV commercials that have nothing to do with Cowboy West. And I thought, that's going to confuse people. Because they'll see an ad about a product or gas or something like that, and they'll go, now, where was that? Because when I go to a Maverick convenience store, it's like cowboy land everywhere. So he said, well, what do we do? So let's change your brand. Let's take a look at your brand. And what we did is first thing we did, we wanted to find out what the attitudes were and awareness of convenience stores for the general population. So we just went to a bunch of different convenience stores, like 8 of us. We said, okay, you get these 10, you get 15, you get these 10 stores. Let's just find out what people think and feel about convenience stores. Would you be surprised to discover that most people don't like shopping at a convenience store? Would that be a surprise to you? Because things are expensive. You know what? It's not like my favorite day to go buy gas. It's not like, oh, today's the day for gasoline. It's not. That's not me. So you're spending a lot of money on a premium product because of the convenience. And you're also buying fuel that it's like buying tires, unless they're really cool tires. It's like, I don't want to have to buy tires. I want to do something fun with my money. But we found there was a different perception or attitude when it came to their experience with adventure. We would hear stories of like, I loved going to a gas station when my parents took me skiing, or we went hunting, or fishing, or camping. Mom and Dad would always let us go in, buy some goodies. Dad would buy some beer and drinks and stuff, and they made it a part of their adventurous experience. So their attitudes changed, and I thought, well, what if Maverick became the place people started their adventures? If we did that, we'd have to kind of create a different experience there. But if we could create that association of Maverick is adventure's first stop, then we can actually create a brand that is contemporary, fun, exciting. Maybe our Snickers will taste a little better. So this was the old Western looking themed brand. Very potent, highly recognizable, but it was losing steam. It was losing relevance. People didn't care about the cowboy theme anymore. It felt a little old-fashioned. This is what the stores looked like. Very functional, and a lot of the brand essence was focused on value. Very low cost. We'll give you as much as we can for this low cost. Fuel was branded or priced to be as low as possible. What ended up happening is we learned our customers felt that the fuel quality was very poor. Why don't buy Maverick gas? That's cheap gas. We developed a reputation for cheap gas because we priced it so low. We're thinking, oh, we're adding value to our customers. We're changing the way they think and feel about the brand. So this is what the brand was like. Here's what the inside looked like. Totally uninspired. We learned that all these people, they love adventure. You know, you guys are in the heart of outdoor fun country. This is where people from all over the world come to play and spend time outdoors. Maverick capitalized on that and made Maverick this adventure brand. So it inspired the exterior design. It inspired the interior design. It inspired our marketing messages. Everything was filtered through this adventure lens. Even our little handouts, they were little backpacks. They could have been little square rectangle things. That'd been easy. But we die cut them to make little backpacks. Like, here's a little backpack. It inspired social media influencer relationships. This guy, Andrew Muse, he was doing adventure videos with his dog, and he was looking for sponsorship. He wanted to produce more of these videos, and he needed money to produce them. Well, Maverick decided, hey, this would actually be a really good idea. We'll give him some like teardrop shaped flags and Maverick branded swag, and we put Maverick on his van because he lived in a van. like adventure van. So we put Maverick accents all around his brand. So when he shot videos of him and his dog skydiving or surfing or kiteboarding or whatever, there's Maverick all over in there. It wasn't like this guy is doing his thing, and by the way, we put a Maverick logo at the end of it. It's like this guy, like, he looks like he's owned or sponsored by Maverick. We paid him $250 a month in a gift card. 100% of the money we gave him was coming right back to us. Okay, and we were getting video that would cost us typically like $4,000 or $5,000 to produce. But he had other sponsors, and he had other sponsored flags and stuff. So he would do the same video, but just edit Maverick out and put like Ford truck, some Ford dealership in there. So it was a really smart idea for him. But we were able to take that video and put it on all of our social media platforms. A cost-effective way to do more promotional marketing that wasn't specific to buy our gas, buy our nachos, buy our hot dogs, come in right now. It was, this is the lifestyle that you can enjoy when you're with Maverick. So when you think about adventure, you think of Maverick. What do you want your customers to think when they're not at your store? You want them to see something as they're driving down the street and go, oh, you're gonna be great. I want to go to your convenience store. I would love to visit there. There's something about your store that I just want to be a part of. We found out another thing that we did is that's not selling product, that's creating lifestyles. We found this woman who took her handicapped child, a Down syndrome child, on hikes because it was the only time, she said, the only time that she would relax and smile and laugh and have fun. So we saw this social media post about her doing that. And so our marketing team, we said, we are going to throw gasoline on that fire. So we reached out, contacted her and said, we want to take you on an epic adventure. We're going to take our film crew and we're going to hook you up with Maverick swag, Maverick lunch, Maverick snacks, and we're going to record the whole thing. They had the time of their lives, and we got phenomenal footage about making a difference in the life of a family. We never gave a price point for how much the sandwich cost that we gave her. But we got a ton of impressions, a lot of views, so that people would think about Maverick. When you create stories like that, the marketing materials you get have a life of their own. In advertising, you pay for reach and frequency, and you pay through the nose. Reach is how many people I can communicate my message to. Frequency is how often do they get it. So like radio, what's my reach? How often do the ads run? Billboards, how many billboards am I going to do? You spend more when there's more traffic. So you pay for reach and frequency. If your branding and marketing is fun, it's advertaining, then it takes its light. You don't have to pay for it anymore. People share it, people watch it, people want to rewatch it. That's what branding does for you. It's not expensive, it's just smart. It's an investment in your advertising and marketing. So as a result of all this, Maverick's open houses, our grand openings, are shoulder to shoulder. You can't get in. Like, it might be because we're giving away like little bites of cookies and hot dogs and cinnamon rolls and stuff. But a large part, it has to do with like, what's the feeling like when you're here? So I did some research and found that in the locations Maverick served, we owned about 20% of the retail locations. But we were selling 25% of the fuel. Okay, that is way more than our fair share. Why? We didn't have tier 1 gas. It wasn't like we had Techron. We were selling our own branded fuel. So it wasn't our fuel. Our Snickers did not taste better. Our soda pop is the same. Our smokes are the same. What made the difference? I think it's the story. I think it's the feeling people have when because I talk to people all the time. Oh my gosh, I love Maverick. Who says that about Shell? Or Chevron? I don't know. So over 8 years when I was there, I was hired in 2010 after working for them for 9 years with my agency. I worked there for 8 years. They grew 600% in value. Does anybody want that kind of growth here? Would that be nice? Yeah, that would be freaking awesome. 600% value. Okay, now brand means something. It's not fluff. It's not frosting. It's not something you throw away. It's not like a little investment. It's business to create something, a theme that gets people emotionally engaged. Now, the reason that's important, so in traditional terms, branding was a way to tell the difference between products. You know, if you're in cattle, you brand Bar J's cow, so everybody knows that's Bar J. It's Bar J's cow. And then there's Rockin' H. That's Rockin' H's cow. If they're grazing in the same places, they're doing the same things, there's no difference in product. I just know that there's a different brand. The brands don't mean anything to me. But if I knew that Bar J, their cattle was raised in this lush green valley, and Rockin' H was raised in this high desert plain, there's gonna be a difference in product. Now the brand, and if I were in marketing and advertising, and I was telling that story about the product, now the brands mean something. Traditionally, we have like the things that are different about our logos are different. We have a red and black logo. You have a red and blue logo. We have a red and yellow logo. It's like, am I feeling yellow today? Am I feeling black today? What's drawing me? Whose logo is the best? Well, we need to create some meaning behind the logo so that people go, the logo, by the way, the logo, I view it as the keyhole through which your brand is seen. That little logo goes, that represents a bigger story. If your logo is only sticker deep, you look up the keyhole, and it's like, there's blackness, so I don't see anything. It should be a reveal a bigger story. So a great brand, it's attractive to core customers. It knows exactly who it's going after. It elicits emotion. It differentiates in a meaningful way. Okay? And why is that important? Because 95% of purchase decisions are emotionally based. 5% of you are going, that's baloney. I buy on functionality. And those 5% have an Android. Seriously. I talk to CFOs, engineers, they're like going, I don't believe in this fluff. What kind of phone you got? I got an Android. It's like, I knew it. Functionality. But the problem is when those people start making marketing decisions, because they think, well, people think like me. They don't. 95% of people buy on emotion. So if you're thinking, well, I think that's fluffy, I think that's dumb. Well, 95% of us are dumb, so sell to the dumb people. Market to the dumb people, because that's what we are, okay? Maria Karafalakis says the same thing. Our actions are almost exclusively controlled by our subconscious emotions. So is our marketing and advertising eliciting emotion, or is it transactional? If it's just math and words, we're losing out on 95% of the people who care. The reason branding works is that our brains are really, really lazy. They take a tremendous amount of energy to process. And so what our brains do is they want to categorize things as quickly as possible. I had an experience with you, you had this certain look, I'm gonna put you in a little cubbyhole in my brain so I can move on and process important things. Great brands create hooks. Themes have visual references and verbal references to help us remember things easier. So if we have a library, like say adventure is a theme that has like mountains and streams and kayaking and climbing and stuff. So visual references, verbal references like trail, hike, peak, summit, path. There's lots of verbal references. All of those things create hooks. So now I'm in the mountains, what am I thinking about? Peak, and I go, oh, I've seen that before at a Maverick. I'm thirsty, So it goes above, it transcends functionality, and it starts to become part of your life. That's why we need all those hooks. Themes are a great way to create those hooks. And I'll talk about themes in just a second. Branding, I'm going to give you just a quick, branding 101, okay? To teach you guys about branding. So design elements have meaning. Design elements are things like colors, fonts, textures, patterns, imagery, even words and vocabulary, language. Let's focus on visually, okay? There's something called color psychology, which basically says that colors have an emotional meaning to us, and it's almost universal. So if your business was friendly, you would use friendly colors. You don't use your favorite colors. You don't use traditional colors. You use colors that you want to elicit an emotion. See, you guys, I'm wearing red. What would that tell you about me? Creative, energetic, aggressive, passionate. Hey, look at the thing. That's intentional. Can you imagine me just come up here wearing gray? A gray suit? That is the most, let me just bore you to tears. That's what my suit would say. That would be my packaging that would say. So I'm intentionally using colors to elicit the response that's meaningful to me, that I want you to relate to me, okay? So that's what colors do. But most people don't think about like that. They just go, okay, I think this color is different from our competitors. Let's use this color because it's going to stand out. That stands out, but why? Do you know what it's doing to the emotional status of our audience? Well, I just never thought about that. You know why? Because you're an accountant. Even textures and patterns. We see textures and patterns like this. We've seen these before. If I were to create a steak house, an authentic, Texas steakhouse, what textures and materials would I use in that restaurant? What do you think? Which one of those would be the most fitting one for a Texas steakhouse? The wood, because you've seen wood like that somewhere, on a barn or in a rundown place. Okay, but if I wanted to make a steak restaurant that cooked steak with laser beams, it was contemporary, which texture would I use? So the white one, the little techie one, the yellow one feels sporty. It uses diagonals, bold colors. So these textures we've seen before. And so they're a part of the story. So if we borrowed those textures for our brands, we basically create a setting for it. So if you were to say, okay, you know what we're going to do? We're going to take the yellow and black, and we're going to put that all over inside our stores. It's going to make people think you guys are like a sporting place because it feels really sporty. If you did the little parchment, it feels very soothing and relaxing. You know? Is that how you want people to feel? Just chill. I would love to know, I honestly would love to know what your tribe stories are and that quintessential thing that makes you different. So that someone who's not, I don't shop here. I don't know the difference between the tribes. If I saw something, I'd say, oh, they all look similar to me. But is there something that's about your tribe that's there's a story about a lady that did something wonderful. And is that something you use on a lot of your branding? So that people go, oh, I remember that story. I love that story. I now prefer to shop at this location. Is there some other lore or some other tradition that can create a visual experience, a visual library, even a verbal library, a story that you use in your marketing materials over and over and over again so that people know that that's what your brand is about? I'm excited to find out what those things are with you guys. Fonts have meaning. There's a gazillion fonts. Each font has some type of emotional response to it. So in your case, do you use things that are traditional? Are they distinctive? Are they different? Are you trying to be contemporary? So think about the fonts you're using. Shapes. On the count of 3, I'm going to ask you all to point to the side that is the friendlier shape. 1, 2, 3, point. Okay. Yeah, the rounded corners. And why is that? Because we see it in nature. Pokey things hurt us, and we like to stay away from those things. They have sharp edges. So we're drawn to things with curves. So if you have a friendly brand, do you use curves and soft corners in your design? Or do you go, well, the box, when I do a layout for a website, it's just easier to put in a box because that's the standard box. I'd have to actually do a little extra work to figure out how to round those corners. I don't have time for that. Pokey. I want to be pokey and sharp. So it's just being a little bit more thoughtful. Same thing with energy. Which of these shapes has more energy in it? 1, 2, 3, point. You betcha, because we see it in real life. If you want a brand that feels exciting and fun, you do a lot of diagonals. If you want to be friendly, you use circles and curvy lines. So the design itself, what I'm getting at is design elements have meaning associated with them already. You don't get to say rounded corners are angry to me. I don't like rounded corners because they're abrasive. Like, no, you don't get to say that. Much like you say, yellow means anger to me. Yellow is angry. Like, to you, but to the rest of the world, yellow means cheerful and friendly. It's warm. So in branding, you go, okay, now that we know that design elements or branding elements have meaning, first figure out, what do I want my brand to mean? That's the strategy. What do I want my brand to mean? What's the story? What's the feeling I want people to have? Now, curate your brand based on brand elements that represent that feeling. It's hard to go backwards and go, I want my brand to mean this, but our brand already looks like this. Let's just shove it in there. Like putting a round peg in a square hole. Like, no, maybe like Maverick did, Maverick had to refresh their brand. They didn't change their name. They just changed the image and story. So I wrote a book called Your Brand Sucks. And I outline a 4-step process to help people figure out what their brand is all about, develop their brand strategy. There are 4 steps. I'm going to go into 2 detail, but let me share with the 4. The first is to find your brand spark. This is the key point of difference in your brand. This is that story. This is that lore. This is that Mavericks was adventure. Sheets is like urban youth. That's their spark. That's the thing that makes them different. That's the spark that creates, inspires a visual and verbal language to express it. Second is identify your target customers. Who are you going after? Don't tell me you're looking for people who buy gas and eat food, because that's not a very narrow target. Try to find people like, I remember going through an exercise when I was at Maverick. We didn't have enough women with children coming into the store. We found that women with children would buy, their basket was a little bit bigger because they're buying for more people. They didn't come in as often. I said, what would we need to do? By the way, sometimes women without children, they're terrible customers. You know why? They come in and they buy a bottle of water because they don't want to get that donut. They're not going to get that donut here, not where people can see them. They're health conscious. They want their kids to be health conscious. I was a mom for a little while. When my wife was out of town, I'd take care of the kids. The last place I want to take them is a gas station. They put their hands on everything and they want to buy those $8 helicopter candy things. I'm like, seriously? I'm keeping them in the car seats. We're going to McDonald's getting nuggets, right? That's what you do as a mom. So why would I want to try to get more of those types of customers? I'd have to do a brand that would make them fall in love with Maverick. My core customer was Bubba, 18 to 45-year-old guys that work out of a truck. Why would I target those people? They buy a lot of fuel. They're not calorie conscious. They come in, they're getting a taquito, they're getting a hot dog, nachos. This is just for breakfast. 2 energy drinks. See what I'm saying? Like, seriously. And how often do they come in? every day, sometimes twice a day. Well, how often does mom come in with her kids? Once a week when she's out of gas. Because the last place she wants to go is the gas station. So I'd have to spend a ton of money and effort to create an experience for that mom to get them to come inside the store. And if I did a really, really great job, right? What would happen to Bubba? Does he feel as comfortable? So we have to create an experience that's highly attractive to our core customer, that's not detractive to our other customers. But we can't be everything to everybody. We just want, this is our core. We have to get them to love us, not think that we're a good solution to their problem. They need to love us. So realize your core belief. This Simon Sinek is a great speaker. He talks about your why. Why do I do this? Why do I do what I do? What I want to know is, and your customers need to know is, why do you choose to work in this industry? What is it about this industry that you care about? And how is that expressed? Because if you don't know why you're doing this, it's just business. If you just think of it as business, a way to make money, it's not going to inspire anybody. But if you're the reason you're in this business is because you know that your core customers come in almost every day. You have an opportunity to influence them every day, to lift their spirits, to give them what they need, to keep the economy going. That's what I'm proud of. That's why we're in business. Well, if you define that, now your employees go, I know why I'm in business. We had, when Maverick was purchased, the company that purchased Maverick in 2016, I think, 2015, was building value to last. That was kind of their mission statement, building value to last. And I remember as an employee thinking, who gets the value? I'm building value for who? I don't feel like I'm getting the value. The shareholders and the owners are getting the value. That's not going to bring my best creative efforts to bear in my job when I'm building value to last for somebody else. Now, if they said, look, your mission, and we'd actually change this, your mission is to bring adventure to everyday life. I'm in. I'm absolutely in. I want to bring adventure to everyday life. So when it comes time to like, hey, what color are we going to paint the ceilings? Make it blue. Let's make it a sky. What else can we do to add adventure to everyday life? Well, let's put adventure gear on our front line. So it looks like they're going fishing or hiking or something like that. Perfect. Let's immerse them that customer into an adventurous experience. Why? Because our purpose, our mission is to bring adventure to everyday life. That's why. That's why your why is so important. And establish your brand adjectives. Brand adjectives describe the brand building blocks. Cheerful. Cheerful is the brand. I want to be described as cheerful. For me, so if I was cheerful, I'd use yellow and fresh colors like that. I would use fonts that are cheerful. Not me. I am cheerful, but I'm more aggressive and exciting and enthusiastic than cheerful. By the way, 2 adjectives that you come up with. I encourage people to come up with 6 adjectives, 2 of which can't be used by any of your competitors. Now, the reason that's important is that if your competitors can use the same adjectives to describe their brand that you do, what's the difference? Oh, we're yellow and red, not black and red. Seriously? That's the big difference? You rely on a color? So let's dig a little deeper into 2 of those. Find your brand spark and establish your brand adjectives. So find your brand spark. We were working on I was working with Seaforce Water, a water company. And this water company, we brought this water into the stores, it wasn't selling at all. So I talked to the marketing director and I said, well, you need to do some advertising. You think, by the way, if you're a vendor, provider, and you have product that you're trying to sell to a convenience store, don't think that you bring it into the store is going to make the sale. You've got to sell like crazy to drive business to the store. That's what we want as a retailer. How are you advertising and pushing your consumers to our location? So I said, you need to do some billboards, do some ads. This is what they came up with. Purity is C-Force, available at Maverick. And I'm thinking, purity? Purity's the big deal? Like someone's gonna open up a cooler door and go, which water is purest? Like last time I had some sinkies and suspendies in my water, and I'm looking for purity today. When's the last time you saw anything floating in water? It's got a lid on it, it's sealed. You expect it to be pure. So no one is stepping up to the cooler door going, today is the day I want purity. And that's their big brand. That's their brand Spark. That was everything that they were doing, was filtering through this purity lens. I asked Gina, I said, Gina, why did you do purity? Well, we had the water tested by hydrologists. And they said it was the purest water they've ever tested. And I thought, this is great. Get branding advice from a hydrologist. Not a good idea. So I said, okay, purity is not your thing. By the way, when I think of purity, there's two types of images that come to mind. One is a sterile lab, hospital, purity, stainless steel. You know what I'm talking about? Test tubes and white lab coats. That's what I think of purity. Or I think of like ferns and crystal streams and things like that. That's, to me, purity. Why would they not do that? Because everybody else in the water business is doing that. Fiji water, or it's like, it's a very technical water. But if your brand idea is purity, you've only got a couple different themes to choose from. So I said, well, let's see if there's a different spark, a theme we can use to differentiate your brand from all your competitors and make it highly attractive. So it's from an artesian spring, that not a huge bin, like, oh, that's not going to make me go, oh man, this is from an artesian spring. I want that. No, we're like, big deal. It's from Navasota, Texas. Has anybody been in Navasota, Texas before? Let me save you the trouble. It's not lush. It is like dry, deserty with rolling hills, and it's not gorgeous. If I was going to go on location, I mean, if I was going to create a brand for water about its location, Fiji's got me beat. It's hard to compete with Fiji. It's bottled at the source. That's another brand attribute. It's uncommonly pure, which we've already talked about. So basically, I'm listing all the things about the product and the business. What can I think of? I'm trying to find something that is remarkable. Oh, it's from Chuck Norris's ranch. What? We should have started there, right? Chuck Norris is drilling for an irrigation source on his ranch in Navasota, where he lives. Lucky guy gets this pure water coming out. Get it tested, super pure. You guys could bottle this and sell it. Chuck and Gina Norris are thinking, we have a Kickstart Kids charity. Teaches kids how to do karate and stuff like that. We need to have like a long-term financing source for that charity. This would be a great way to do it. So they built a $5 million water bottling plant across the street and started selling water based on purity. Now, when I found out it was Chuck Norris water, you guys, I was thinking, here's what's going to happen. In my mind's eye, I see a big, like a trough, a sluice, you know, a big trough thing. Water is cascading over. Chuck Norris is in that trough. He's naked. And the water runs over his body. And there's someone at the other end just filling up water bottles. How much would you pay for Chuck Norris Essence? $20 a bottle, easy, right? Some women find that gross. And I'm thinking, Chuck Norris Essence? I got a little Chuck Norris in me, right? So I said, well, what if we took that billboard and we changed it, filtered it through a Chuck Norris lens? Now you have a lot of fun, like punch thirst in the throat, roundhouse thirst in the face, you know, all kinds of fun things. You could put put memes on the bottom of bottle caps. How fun would this be? Now that inspires packaging. It used to be, when I talked to Gene, I said, you know what, you need to put Chuck Norris as your your brand spark. So we have Chuck Norris. It's right there on the bottom. I go, have you ever bought water at a convenience store? Ever? Obviously not. There's this little thingy that holds the bottom of the water so the water doesn't fall out of the shelves. You've covered up the very thing that makes your company different. And we got to change this a little bit. Let's put Chuck Norris at the top and let's make it a visual so you don't have to read it. Because our brains are lazy. We just see images. We don't read stuff. Let's put our point of sale. I've seen people take their photos with a point of sale. Nobody's taking a picture behind a sign that says purity has arrived. Unless they're a 4-year-old version or something like that. I don't know. There's even the packaging. All have Chuck Norris-ness in it. They've taken the brand spark and they've filtered all of their marketing materials through that lens. Even the language, the fonts, everything. Now when I open up a cooler door and I see a red bottle, it has meaning. It's not just different, but there's a reason behind that red. And that red will trigger the story that I see in the marketing and advertising. And for me, I love Chuck Norris. I wanted to be a Chuck Norris. I watched Kung Fu movies as a kid. Thought Bruce Lee and Chuck Norris battle it out. Who didn't see that one? Like, man, I want to be Chuck Norris or Bruce Lee. And if I could have Chuck Norris-ness inside me, I'm buying that. By the way, the water's delicious. See how I just said that? By the way, the water, the product is actually good. We're not buying the product. We're buying the story around it. Establish your brand adjectives. This is an easy exercise. I actually wrote a GPT on ChatGPT that helps you find your 6 adjectives. But here's the process. You basically list 3 different brands on a whiteboard that you wish your brand could feel like. It's best if it's not even in your industry. Could be a car, an auto brand or a clothing brand or whatever. It's like, if this brand was my store, my business, which brands would inspire me? And then you just basically list the descriptive words that you like about each brand. They're cool, contemporary, they're exciting, fun, blah, 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 blah. And so you list all the adjectives that describe those, and then you circle the ones that are the same. What we're really doing is trying to find out what you or your company wants to have the feelings associated with that brand. Now, for your companies, you'd just sit down with the stakeholders. You sit down with the people who are in charge of the brand and say, let's just make sure we're on track here. How do you want our customers to feel and think about us? And go beyond safe, friendly, stocked, blah, 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 because that's everybody. Come up with 6 adjectives. 2 of them can't be used for somebody else, your competitors. Once you've established those, oh man, it is smooth. It is so much easier to find brand assets, visuals and stories and stuff like that, to express those feelings. Okay. So let me talk about theming real quick. So a theme, if I said Star Wars, the theme for Star Wars is like a space drama that feels like it's really, really old because all of the equipment they use, the ships they use and stuff like that, they don't look brand new. They have rust and there's streaking oil and stuff like that. The Jedis wear robes. If I say Star Wars space drama, you can see lots of visual representations of that. If I say adventure, you go, okay, I think of mountain peaks and trees and streams and people doing fun activities. So adventures have with it already like a collection, a library of visual and verbal terms that you can use to inspire your brands. You guys, what's cool about the tribes is you already have that, a theme. How can you make it distinctively different from other tribes? So Sheets has a theme. Bold, it's vibrant, it's youthful. Maverick has an adventure theme. Can you see the difference now? It's like, oh, I just sucked the air out of the room. This is actually, I created this in ChatGPT, and I just said, hey, create a mood board for adventure. So a font that would go with that would be something like this. It looks tumbled, distressed a little bit. If I were to do sports, there's a college football font works perfectly for something like that. Does that work? No. It's scary. It's a scream, right? But this does. Can you see? You instinctively know what fits and what doesn't. So themes give us a sense of like a holistic view of a brand. Go ahead and take a quick picture of this, because I would love to get you guys for free. There's no strings attached or anything like that. I have a brand starter guide. It's a guide and then my book, digital book. It walks you step by step through sharpening your brand. So if you feel like your brand could be a little sharpened, a little polished, take this. It asks you 5 questions. By the way, if you can't get to the questions, it's going to ask you for like a code or something. Use the word fire starter. Use the word fire starter. It's going to ask you questions about this presentation. Don't tell me I did awesome. Give me some constructive criticism. Say, it was great. This is I'd love to see him do this, or spend a little more time on this or that, or spend less time on this or that. So I'm going to show you, how much time do I have? 30 minutes? Yes, good. I'm going to show you how this works in a fake example. Let's say Hancock Gasoline, 3rd generation owners, they get together and they're going, well, this is our new marketing team, new business plan. Do we need to do anything with our brand? And so here's what they do. They come up with the strategy. They go through the 4 steps of brand discovery. And the first one is, by the way, aren't they all beautiful? They have these perfect smiles and stuff. I said in the interview with myself, because this is imaginary, hey, what makes you different? They say, we are clean fanatics, bordering on OCD. We want to be known as the cleanest stores around. And as a marketing guy, I go, that's so boring. I don't know if you can make a brand unclean. They're like, but we have to have it. We're the cleanest. Like, all right, let's pull that yarn and see where it takes us. Who's your core customer? Women with children. Okay, this is your business. I'm just here to listen. And they feel like a clean store is going to attract this type of person. Is that true? If you knew that this brand was the cleanest store around, would it attract women with children? Absolutely, absolutely. Why? What's your core belief? Why do you? Well, cleanliness lifts spirits and makes people happy. Comfortable people. Comfortable people will spend more money with us. All right, that's true. We usually buy from people we like and know and care about. So establish your brand adjectives. Okay, clean, bright, friendly. They should be on everybody's convenience store list, right? So what are some adjectives that they would use to describe their brand that nobody else would? Nostalgic and lighthearted. Those are cool, all right. Nostalgic and lighthearted. So now that I have a strategy, I've got to now build a look and feel for marketing, interior design, customer experience, advertising. So what colors, textures, and patterns will you use to represent your brand? Okay, let me ask you. This is a clean brand. What colors, when I say clean, what colors come to mind? White. What do you think? White. Any other color? Blue, yellow, beige. Let's see what this can. Does that feel like a clean palette? Use a little bit of green to kind of make it fresh. Otherwise, it's just toothpaste. Or a hospital. We don't want it to be a hospital. Green means environmental. It's a fresher. It's lighter. Healthy. Green is also a healthy color. How will you represent your brand through images? What type of images are nostalgic and different? You came up with this nostalgic look. Okay, it's cute. It's fun. Does it appeal to women with children? This is the target market. Because here's what happens in branding all the time. Come up with a strategy, and somebody says, My grandma hates this. And my answer is, don't care. Grandma's not your target customer. I need moms to love us. And if your big brother hates these images, don't care. I can't get a group of people, an audience, to love me without having somebody go, I don't like it. If I market to everybody, everybody says I'm okay. Because not everybody's going to agree and say, I love it. One of my friends said, doing a brand is kind of like shopping for a couple. One of you is going to love it, or neither of you will love it. That bowling ball, that bow and arrow set, yeah, she's not that fond of it. What type styles reinforce your brand personality? It needs to be light, fun, nostalgic. So lighthearted, nostalgic. So some of these fonts. These are fonts that we've seen back in those days, like in the 60s and 70s. That's why it's nostalgic. So we borrowed those fonts from that era. Words or phrases. What do we use in our language, our marketing materials? Spick and span, shine, sparkle, glisten, gleam. And even look, I'm using the same fonts. Okay? So now I'm developing a library of words and fonts that I can use in marketing and advertising. So now I filter all of these brand building blocks into our marketing materials. So far, I haven't produced anything. I just have a library of assets to use for marketing. So first of all, does the current logo reflect the new strategy? No, does not. It's distressed, it's red, it's old. People ask me, when do I change my logo? When your brand vision and strategy no longer aligns with the look and feel that you have. And oftentimes, like look at Pepsi and Coca-Cola and Apple Computers, huge brands, they change their logo over time. So think about like, oh man, we never want to change. Like the biggest brands in the world change. They update it. They don't make a huge change. They make little adjustments. Okay? So this is the new logo. Sparkle's convenience. I love the tagline. So clean will make you sparkle. Construction and architecture. Use white subway tile, stainless steel, paint the walls blue. And I love this idea of like embedding little LED lights in the wall so that as you walk in, they bling, bling, bling. It feels sparkly and shiny. Terminology. The headquarters, don't call it the main office, the corporate headquarters. Lame. It's easy to call it Sparkle Central. The CEO, Chief Cleaning Officer, Chief Sparkler, soft drink station, Sparkle Soda Fountain, associates, they're the sparklers. Operations, they're the gleam team. We make things clean. I love it. Even if I was running the Sparkle's convenience store, hiring would be a breeze. The interview question would be one question. Show me your car. I'm hiring on cleanliness. If your car's spick and span clean, you're hired, because that's what you'll be doing. Uniforms. Make sure, oftentimes we get uniforms that hide dirt. If you're at Sparkles, you're saying, we're showing you how clean we are. So you have light clothes. Your point of sale, we're using the illustrations, the fonts, colors, all into a single design. You wouldn't see this in another convenience store. So it looks different. Here's a TV commercial. Yellow, middle-aged car pulls up to Sparkles. Mom pops out, a little disheveled. She's got her 2 kids. This is our core customer. The sparkler, what is she doing? She's cleaning. That's what she does. All the time. Mom's like, oh, that's kind of nice. She walks into the bathroom. How's the bathroom looking? Clean. She's like, I like this. So she starts to smile a little bit. Meanwhile, the sparkler's out cleaning her windshield. Very little effort, not a lot of money. Mom comes out a little fresher out of the bathroom, put a little makeup on, and brings some Sparkle sodas up to the front counter. the sparkler looks at her and she smiles and like, cling, in her teeth, right? Mom walks out to the car, sees a shiny window, close up on mom, cling. Sparkle, so clean will make you sparkle. Now, isn't that's the story that we're telling? That's a story about for a customer. This is the experience you can expect from us. And it's about a brand spark that is as boring as clean. But it's not boring if you go all in. If it's just like, hey, we just want to make sure that we're clean and friendly and fast and reliable and stocked. It's like, okay, you're every other convenience store that has a different color logo. But if your brand, like this one, I would love to see this happen, by the way. I would love to see it happen because it would inspire employees to go, look, we are on a mission to keep the cleanest stores ever. We're on a mission to do that. It's not just one of our operations, check off the list. It's who we are. It's in our DNA. I would love to see a store like this. Okay. Now, the reason all this branding stuff is important is that in the past 2 or 3 years, we have been seeing this ramp of generative AI. We are at a point right now where if you're not starting to use generative AI, you are going to be spending way too much money and way too much time to produce the marketing materials. Now, for me, I am a marketing and branding specialist. I know a lot about AI in this bitty space. I don't know anything about automation, fuel projections, anything like that. No, I have no clue. AI is a big, crazy creature right now. So I know a lot about marketing production. So I want to show you just a few things to kind of open your eyes to like, what could I do as a convenience store with generative AI? So I first came aware of this, like I would draw pictures. I studied illustration in college. That's how I got into marketing. I was drawing stuff for an ad agency, and I started my own group. And about 2 years ago, I was talking to a guy in a podcast, and I did a little screen capture while we were talking, and I sketched him, and I sent it to him. He called me and says, this is the coolest thing ever. You should do this all the time. And I'm like, oh, really? It's cool? All right, I'll do this. So I've done like hundreds of these things. Recently, well, not really recently, about a year ago, people are starting to ask me, did you do this with AI? And I'm like, AI can't do this. I've worked on this for 30 years. I was in like middle school drawing stuff. AI can't do what I have learned over a course of my lifetime do. No, it can actually do it. It's like, it does this. I'm like, dang it. Mine's cooler, huh? Thanks, brother. So, man, I'm frozen. I'm going to show you 3 different products, 3 different tools. One is called ChatGPT. It's probably the most famous generative AI tool out there. Midjourney is text to image. And then HeyGen is video production, video creation. Mostly talking heads, people talking, okay? These 2 illustrations were done for a client. This would normally take me, and I could illustrate these, by the way. It would take me about 18 to 20 hours to illustrate one of these. It takes a long time. And if, let's say my hourly rate was $100, $100 an hour, like $1,800, $2,000 right there. And probably a week and a half to get it done. Or I could spend like 3 minutes, describe a prompt, get what I want. By the way, I needed a space-themed Santa Claus. I can't get that in stock photography somewhere, you know? It's not like, oh, I can get it for $25 on iStock. I wanted something custom to me. So we created these 2 different things for Christmas. Let me show you this. This is kind of freaky.
Welcome to the 2024 TCSA Member Meeting Mixer and Trade Show. I'm Ernie's clone. The real Ernie is on a beach somewhere sipping pina coladas while I do all the work. Hope you enjoy the conference. I'll just be here. You know, not on vacation.
Interesting, huh? I spent 2.5 minutes talking in front of a camera. It captured my voice and my body language. But it's also, this is cool.
我真的不会说中文，但是这听起来对吗？如果你能聽懂我在說什麼，請舉手。
I speak other languages too.
Kung akala mo ikahanga-hanga ang Chinese, ano naman ang Tagalog? Itaas ang iyong kamay kung naiintindihan mo ang sinasabi ko. Si pudiera hablar cualquier idioma con fluidez, sería este. Si hablas y entiendes español, levanta la mano.
Okay, how was my accent? Was it all right? Okay. Coolest thing ever. So I've recorded me. I've got a clone, a digital clone of me, and I just upload a script. It does the whole thing for me. If I wanted a logo, easy. I can just put a logo on the screen and then take it off where I want to take it off. And here's me talking, logo comes up or image comes up. Can you imagine just HR training? Let me explain. Oh, you don't speak English? No problem. What of the 260 languages available do you speak? And it'll be me or the spokesperson. You have somebody in your office that's like the person who talks to people, like your VP of operations or whatever. Get them on the, and what's cool is like, they don't even have to be there. It's like I'm on the airplane. Let's do one for the tribal group. Done. Renders it. I drop it in here. Now, why would this be? How much time would this save? How many of you ever done a video? It's a pain in the butt. You're like, here's what you do. You get your phone, your camera out. So here, shoot me, okay? And he's like, okay, go. And you're like, hey, welcome to the tribal. Oh, hold on. Let me do that again. Hey, I'm Ernie. What was I supposed to say? Like, okay, you know what? I'll just do it in little pieces, and then we'll edit out all of my mistakes. And then 3 days later, you have a crappy video. Or you can do it in about 60 seconds. Can this change the way you communicate? Imagine a newsletter from the VP or whatever. It's like, now, right now, it's probably like, if you didn't know me very well, you look at that and you go, that looks pretty good. But if you know me really well, you go, it looks a little weird. We're like 1.5 years into this. Start now, because a year from now, you won't be able to tell the difference. You won't be able to tell the difference at all. That's how cool it is, okay? So can this save you time? Translating stuff? Okay, yeah, I hope so. Okay, so I was on the phone with a woman. She's starting a business. She wants to teach surf lessons. Doesn't have a logo yet. And I said, let me just doodle something out. Let's see what ChatGPT can do. So I uploaded that little doodle into ChatGPT, and I said, will you create that was my prompt right there. Please create a bold, simple, surfer-inspired logo based on this sketch. It created the one on the right, the first time. That was my first stab at it. Like, okay, that may not be the one I end up using, but it sure has inspired me to get something much closer. Even uses even the same, the type. Like, oh, I love it, the words. This image was also created in Midjourney. Looks like a photograph. Even the little images above, I said, just an overstressed convenience store clerk. You want to save 30 to 60 minutes a day? You guys, I save probably about 15 to 20 hours a week. I'm able to do more work faster and better than before because I'm using these tools. I know that in many convenience stores, you don't have an army of marketing people working for you. You have a marketing person, maybe two. Their job is also category management, promotions. They are just stretched thin. And so you're like, hey, why aren't we doing more marketing? It's like, because I'm freaking buried. Wouldn't it be great to have some little robots working for you before we start working for them? That would be awesome. So I'm using these tools now to save me time so I can do that social media post, that email, that whatever. So I'm going to show you some things. These 6 items, the logo, the email, the text message, the pump topper, I did all in 3 hours from start to finish, from scratch. Now, as a marketing person, you're like, oh my gosh, typically I have to go find a photo or take a photo. That's going to take half a day. So I'm able to do all of this stuff in 3 hours. That included some of the photoshopping I did on some of the stuff. So I'm going to kind of show you kind of the process. So in ChatGPT, by the way, before we end this session, I'm going to have someone come up. We're going to do a quick little generative AI piece. And then we're going to come back this afternoon after lunch. We'll do a little bit more because I want to open your mind to how you can use these things today. Okay. So I'd like your help creating marketing materials for a convenience store chain called Stinkers. By the way, Nate Brazier is the CEO at Stinkers stores in Idaho. He gave me permission. He and I used to work at Maverick together. So this is all pretend, by the way. This didn't really happen. Just an example, okay? We have a cartoon skunk mascot named Polecat Pete. This is what I'm telling ChatGPT. I'm priming it with the project I'm working on. Our brand can be described as witty, unconventional, independent, fun, and country. These are the adjectives. We use pine trees, distressed wood, and rough hand-painted letters in our library of design. We frequently use the word stinkin' as a degree adverb in our marketing language. The tone of our marketing language is fun and friendly. Okay, I have given it all of the brand strategy elements I've developed in that FIRE. Find your brand spark, identify your target customers. Do you understand? And it's like, I want to check to make sure I understand. Absolutely, get the picture. Stinkers with Polecat Pete as your skunk mascot and a branding vibe that's witty, unconventional, and brimming with country charm. Sounds fantastic. Use of pine trees, distressed wood, and rough hand-painted letters, along with a playful use of stinkin' in your marketing language, sets a clear, fun, and friendly tone. Right now, I just feel like it's just regurgitating. It's not coming up with anything new. Let me know how I can assist in bringing Polecat Pete and the Stinker spirit to life. All right, let's see. Will you propose 5 ideas to name our loyalty rewards program that fit our brand? Sure, here's 5 ideas. Stinkin' Rewards Club. Now, I love how it not just gave me a title, but it kind of gave me a reason why. So now I can go back to the CEO and say, okay, the reason we like Polecat Pete's points is it's fun and a personal way to involve our mascot in the loyalty program, making members feel like they're collecting something valuable and personal from Polecat Pete himself. Like, that's a great argument. My favorite one was Pete's points. It's like, okay, let's just move forward. Will you create 4 variations of a simple 2-color logo for Pete's points? I like the one on the bottom left. They look all similar, really similar. So those are the 4 different variations. I grabbed the one on the left. I didn't do any photo retouching on it. I just grabbed it. Now, typically I would. There's something that I may not like about it. I think about generative AI as a human AI sandwich. Human bun, AI meat, human bun. Human prompt, AI generates the content, and a human polishes it up and makes it theirs. That way you can make sure it's 100% you. It has been easy to kind of spot generative AI content, email content, text content, stuff like that. Most of the time because people are not prompting generative AI with the adjectives and personality of their brand. They're just saying, hey, will you help me write an email that does this? Like, great. It's going to sound like everybody else's email that does the same prompt. But if you say, will you do that in the language of Polecat Pete? Now it's going to be much, much more difficult to tell where it came from. So I took that logo and made the card. Card design, done, easy. So then I got Pete's points and a card in like 8 minutes. Now I need a social media post that promotes this 99-cent soft drink. I need a photograph. When you use generative AI, think of it as, instead of saying, give me a website that's got 10 pages, 15 paragraphs, think about your building ingredients that then you can put together. Generative AI is much, much better at coming up with one thing at a time, just like people's. Just like humans, we're much better at give me one assignment I can focus on and get that done. So I need a background that I can put my soft drink on that feels outdoors. It feels like where a skunk would live. Okay, so I give it a description. First shot, this is what I get. I described exactly what I wanted. That's a perfect backdrop to put my soft drink. Well, now I'm going to ask it for a soft drink. A studio photo of an ice-cold fountain drink in a clear plastic cup. A red straw extrudes from the top. The soda is cola. Beads of perspiration cover the outside of the cup. And backlit. Backlit because the stump was backlit too. I want the lighting to match. Otherwise, it'll look hokey. That's what I get. I love the one on the top right. I isolate that, drop it on the stump, put the logo on it. If I were to go and shoot this, which I have done before many times, you have to go location scouting. Where's a great place for this? I have to find the stump or make one, bring something. Probably have to, in this case, I might have to bring my own stump, and it's going to be like this fresh wood, and it doesn't look quite right. And then I have to bring a 2-liter bottle of soda, 3 cups, and I have to wait. Okay, I have to sleep overnight or get there super, super early in the morning because the sun's going to come up just right. And I pour the drink in and take a picture. And then you go and get them photo retouched. We're talking, you take the photographer is going to charge you about $2,000. You're going to be there for a day. You're going to plan for it. And then you're going to do it afterwards. Or you can spend like 7 minutes. See what I'm talking about? The time you can save. Think about the products that you sell. I think about the tribes. Like you have textures and visuals that are distinctive to you. Are your products being photographed or presented on those patterns and backgrounds? They should be. Now, writing as a creative social media manager, please write a 55-word social media post promoting the exclusive discount. Now I already have that image. Remember, I have the image and I need this text. Oh, perfect. This is what I get. Sizzle your summer with a splash. I love it. Even adds the little emojis. Peach Points members dive into our exclusive deal. 99-cent large fountain drinks all summer long. Thirsty for savings? This would have taken me like an hour to write something like this. This was the first stab because it was trained to know the language and personality of the brand. Thirsty for savings? Join Peach Points now and chill out with every sip. Don't miss this wave of refreshments. Your taste buds and wallet will thank you. Love it. So here's what it ends up looking like. In minutes instead of hours or even days. And at a tiny cost. Like I pay for Midjourney, pay like $11 a month to get a magic genie making photographs for me. Okay. Now here's something I was really interested in. I was talking to Ed at, where was that? The summit. Okay. And he said, hey, we're tribes, so we have very distinctive cultures. And there's a look and feel for our design, our tribal stuff. So I thought, I want to try something. I want to see if generative AI can come up with something that is appropriate for your tribes. So here's the prompt I gave. I don't know, is that right? Does that look right? Or is it like, no way, that's totally wrong. I just asked for a background in a Nisqually design for a website background. That was the simple prompt. This is what I got. Okay. How about a smiling native Nisqually woman wearing traditional clothing, standing beside a river holding a large sign? Like, can you imagine like, hey, we have this on sale or whatever? That'd be kind of interesting. Does that look real? Does that look, I don't know. Ed, what do you think? Could that pass for the tribe? Okay, what would it cost to shoot that photo? First of all, you have to get someone willing to do it, right? They might be a model, which is super expensive. You pay for a model, you pay for usage for every DMA that it goes into. Every time, every quarter or period that you use it. So guess how much I have to pay her? Nothing, because she ain't real. That's AI. That was AI. Okay. By the way, it doesn't search for things, it creates them. Plank of cedarwood, because you were telling me, hey, cedarwood's big. It's a really important part of the culture. So what about, and I was able to see that fish are an important part. I'm not, if it's just salmon or fish or whatever, So I said, I want a blank cedar of wood with the Nisqually design of a fish carved into it. Maybe use that for a masthead on something or a design thing. Let's see what it looks like. Is that, I don't know what the telltale signs are or the design elements are for the tribe. But would this work? Would people go, dude, that's nowhere even close? Top left? Okay. So you'd, and by the way, this is first step. You can do this over and over again. Keep saying, no, do it again, do it again. Or you change the prompt a little bit to give it a little more information to get you better results back. So I want to find out, could this work for the tribes? It sounds like yes, we could. But I don't know is the distinction between the different tribes that you would have to know to put it into the prompt. I was surprised with what we got. Okay. So here's how I do this. Instead of using ChatGPT like a text messenger or Google search, I need to prime it like I did with the Pete's Points. I have to give it information about the company. So, and this is the same thing I give to everybody, dentists, insurance agents, whatever. I'd like your help producing marketing content for my business that's consistent with the tone and personality of my brand. It doesn't know who you are yet. You gotta tell it. My business does what for who? My business sells convenience items, fuel, tobacco, marijuana, whatever, to who? People who eat food. Who's my target market? My brand can be described as, these are your adjectives, and I use words and phrases like, these are my words and phrases. Now I've primed it to give me stuff that's going to be highly branded, highly unique to my company, and it's not going to sound like anybody else's. So here's my prompt formula. This is how I ask. Now that I've primed ChatGPT, here's what I'm going to ask to get content back. Acting as a type of expert, like a copywriter, headline writer, third grade teacher. Now remember, ChatGPT has learned a ton of information from different sources. It knows what those sources are. So you said acting like a professional copywriter. So I've seen a lot of copywriting stuff, so I kind of know the flavor of how to write that. Or an editorialist, or a article writer, or whatever. Tell it what type of expert you need. And then please write a how many ever number of words, 66 word, whatever. If I'm doing a radio spot, I want less than 100 words, so I can say it in 30 seconds. For content type, what am I going to use this content for? Social media post? Is it LinkedIn? Is it a script? What am I going to use this for? Then that define the intent. Why? What do I want? What's the purpose? What's the call to action? Like encourages school teachers to enroll in my class, gets people to sign up for our loyalty program. That's the purpose. It knows why I'm writing this. And then in the tone and personality of my brand, which I've already told it. Use the following content for reference. Now, oftentimes, I'll write something. I'll come up with some notes, some bullet points that I want it to reference when it gives me the content. Like I'll come up with like the loyalty program, these are the benefits. And I just put little bullet points in there. I think we're going to do 2 cents off a gallon of gas. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Yeah. So this is, I'm going to show you how we do images too. I won't spend a lot of time on this because I'm going to actually give you guys these prompts. I'll send them to you. And by the way, I'd be happy to do like a little deeper training on this for you. No, I'm not. I'm going to keep going because I want to actually do a live one here for you. Come on. I'll do this instead. I want to do the live thing. Okay, good. We're about there anyway. Raise your hand if you feel like, man, I'd love to learn how to use ChatGPT and help me make some marketing materials. Who would like to know how to do that? Would you? Okay, you're the first one to raise your hand. Would you come up here and stand right here? Or sit right here with me? How much time I got left? 5 minutes? Okay. We'll do a quick demo, 5 minutes, 10 minutes or something. Okay, because we're going to come back after lunch and we're going to do a little bit more of this, okay? Okay. Let's turn this on. Is this hot? Is this hot? Yep. Okay. So here's what I'm going to do. ChatGPT.com is the website. And it looks, you can see, if I want to create a new chat, I click on ChatGPT here, and it comes up with a chat little window. I can ask it anything I want here. Okay? So I want to prime ChatGPT to get, well, let's first of all, what kind of marketing material would you love to be able to create and get out in front of your customers?
Signs, flyers,
Okay.
social media.
Okay. Let's do social media because you're here. You're here. You might do something about social media being here. All right. What's the name of your company?
Trading Post.
Trading Post? Okay. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to talk really loud, but I can't. So remember that prompt I said. I like help. Meat store?
Yes.
I'm going to try to give as much information as I can. This is before I actually ask it to give me any a text back, okay, or information back. Oh, thanks, buddy. Does that work? Is that better? I'll do this. Okay. My brand can be described. Oh, by the way, to who? Who's your target market?
People on the freeway.
We service our customers. Our customers are people driving down the freeway.
I need to tell you that I'm the Android using CFO.
Okay,
So
we're gonna baptize him today. Baptize you today. So here's what we're gonna do. This will be a fun exercise for you then. My brand can be described as. What are some adjectives? And you got your some coworkers here too. Okay, new buddies. By the way, doing this kind of exercise, it's fun. We don't have to get it right. We just have to kind of create something that's fun. This will all be flushed down the toilet 15 minutes from now. So we just have some fun right now, but I want to show you how it works. It's not about you getting it right. Let's talk about like, my brand can be described as, how would you describe it? If I were you, I'd be traditional, or is it like contemporary? Is it exciting? Is it, how would you, boring? By the way, these are words that you want to be, not what you are. Okay.
Oh, then it's exciting.
Okay, it's exciting. Is exciting?
Yes.
Yes. Kind of a reflection of yourself. Right? Exciting. Attractive.
Gray suit, gray minivan.
I'm saying exciting, attractive. I'm going to say, because energetic. youthful. Because one of the things we need to do too is like make sure that we're attracting the upcoming consumer, not the 40-year-old that we've got locked and loaded. You could do a lot of marketing materials that they don't love, but they'll still come to you. We need to make sure we keep fishing for the new audience, the growing audience. Okay, like my wife traditionally wouldn't buy food at a gas station. My kids do all the time. It's silly for me to try to market to my wife. I should be targeting like crazy to my kids, my 20-year-olds, my 25-year-olds, right? So it's attractive, exciting, energetic, youthful. Now let's make it, what tribe is it?
Squaxin Island Tribe.
Okay, I don't know how to spell that. You're gonna have to help me.
SQUAXIN.
XIM?
N. Like
Squaw-
Nancy.
Okay. I'm going to do this. We are owned and operated by the Squaxin tribe. We have a layer of traditional native design. Okay, I'm just going to do that. It's spelled traditional design. What is it? Salish? Salish native design? Okay, thank you. Is that right? Okay, thanks. Thank you. Okay, awesome. Okay, we use words and phrases. We use words and phrases like, what are some youthful words and phrases, and what do the kids in the tribes use? Do they do anything that's different? They say anything that's different? Rad. Riz. R-E-Z. No, what does that mean, by the way? The res. Okay. I'm gonna say slang for reservation. What else? A drip. Drip, which is slang for things that are like really cool, really. Oh, fashion, a good looking fashion. Okay. Now, I'll do this for now, but watch what happens when the content that comes back to me uses some of this vocabulary in it. Okay. So, and I'm going to say, do you understand? Now, the reason I do that is because if I don't say that, it's going to start coming up with marketing materials for me. I'm like, dude, one thing at a time. I just want to make sure you understand what we're doing. And then I'm going to ask you for some content, like a social media post. Okay. Okay. So what it's doing now, it's like, by the way, I'm using the model 4.0 model. There are different models up here. 4.0, it says great for most tasks. 0.1 is for it uses advanced reasoning. Now, let me give you a little history of ChatGPT. 2 years ago, like version 1, think of it like as a grade school intellect, a savant grade school intellect. I will give you answers to every question you ask. It may not be right, but I will act as if I am absolutely 100% certain. And it's often wrong, okay? Version 2, middle school. Version 3, high school level. Version 4, college level. The most recent version, about 2-3 months old, they've started from scratch 1.01, because it is so far advanced. It's now PhD level. Highly intellectual. The reason now it's actually thinking about what it's going to say before it says it. It analyzes its own response, compares it to what it should be saying, and then it comes up with the response. The only problem with the new 1.0 is that it doesn't understand images yet. The previous version 4.0 understands images and can create images for us. So, do you understand? Let's see what it said. Got it. Let's make your marketing materials for the trading post exciting, energetic, and full of that youthful, stylish vibe. Here are some ideas for content already. Taglines. Your res drip stop on the highway. Fuel up, res up, drip out. Where culture meets cool, the trading post. Res vibes, drip style, only the trading post. Okay. Social media post ideas, Twitter post ideas, Facebook post ideas, in-store promotion. Fuel your res drip, get 10% off your purchase when you show off your unique road trip drip fashion. Road trip drip, I love it. At checkout. Check me out, man. Did I get 10% off or what? Store signage. Now, one of the things I could do now is like, this is already a good, think of using ChatGPT as inspiration, it's like a brainstorm session. I'm getting good stuff back. What do I want? Where do I want this to go? So let's take a look at this for a social media post. We have a Facebook post that says, the ultimate road trip stop, the trading post. Text, long drive, stop by the trading post where you get the best of both worlds. Res culture and road trip essentials. Grab your drip and keep rolling. That sounds like grab your coffee or something, but I don't know. Image, show off stylish merchandise alongside fuel pumps with native Salish design elements. I don't know what that means, but does that make sense? Mm-hmm. What if should we try this and see if we can come up with an image that goes with this? Let's try this, okay? I'm gonna say, now I can reference the stuff it's already given me. The important thing about using ChatGPT is this conversation is unique. It remembers everything that we've been talking about. That's why I can condition it, prime it, and then kind of keep going. I can then correct it as well. I can say, you know what? Just so you know, drip means this. Let's make sure we understand that, okay? So we can coach this bot. If I create a new thread, I'm starting from scratch. So if I click up here, ChatGPT, I'm creating a new conversation that has no recollection of what we've been talking about. What's nice is that this conversation is being tracked right here. I can always go back to that conversation, okay? So I'm just gonna say, will you please create a photographic image for the Facebook post you described. Okay. Now I found that ChatGPT, its image generating abilities are not the best. That's why I use Midjourney. I want that car. Did you see this? Check this out. Okay. Look at that thing. That is cool. We didn't know that we were going to be wrapping a car, did we? No. We just figured that out. We're going to wrap this car. So, but that image represents the post we did. Now, we just can't. Yeah, we're going to do that. Okay. I'll make sure you get this.
Could you please? Yes.
So, and I'm not sure if like this image is right or whatever, but it looks pretty cool. It looks pretty exciting. And for a social media post, this is, it's not going to be scrutinized a lot. It'll just be looked at for a brief moment. Isn't it? Wow.
It does.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank you for, by the way, when you use, thank you. When you use the right language, like really descriptive language, you get great stuff back. Really good stuff back. Now, I've talked to other people and say, man, I think it's useless. I just can't get anything good out of it. I go garbage in, garbage out. But if we can get, like, if you can get really good, you don't have to do this. But get your marketing people. I want to make sure that you're exposed to this because now I'm a good prompter because I've been doing this for a while. Your people won't be able to do this right off the bat. But give them 2 months. Give them permission to use the tools, encourage them to use the tools, and take a look at it and say, if it's not as good as what we've got, then let's just use what we traditionally have. But I want, I'll almost make a mandate. Hey, I want to see content you produce using generative AI. Because what's going to happen is it's going to be a little funky at first. It's going to be out of their wheelhouse. But as soon as they get up to speed, they will be able to produce more marketing materials for you better and faster than you ever thought possible. I seriously feel like I discovered a genie in a bottle. It's a magic source for me to be able to like exponentially expand my capabilities and come up with ideas that I didn't have. Generative AI means it is creating something that has never been done before. It's not finding stuff. It's not a mashup. It's creating new things. That's generative. We should be using those tools. So hopefully, now that we've wrapped up this session, you have two ideas. One, is my brand as sharp as it could be? Can I sharpen that brand? And second, is it time for me to start looking at using generative AI tools to help me make my marketing material and HR materials? Thank you very much, you guys. Thank you. Yeah, I need.
One more thing, in tradition of speakers, we always like to wrap you in a blanket. So we're gonna go right in the middle over here. We'll get yeah, I was thoroughly impressed. You know, it makes me think about what we can do and all these things. Like my mind just goes. I'm like that picture of the brain just sitting there, like that's like
Oh yeah.
thing.
Well, it's like
Yeah.
it's like me with the art. I would think there's no way it can do what I need done. And just like this past week when I was playing with these tools, like it can do stuff for you guys. You may have thought, oh, it'll never be able to get the traditional stuff. It can be.
Yeah. No, we appreciate it. Yeah, thank you again for that, and we look forward to later on.